They say an Omega Father is the weakest kind of prey in a world run by alphas. They're wrong. I just haven't shown them why yet. The grocery bag splits open the second I step through the apartment door. Apples roll across the scuffed floor like they're making a break for it, and I'm too damn tired to chase them. Stay, I mutter, crouching down with a groan that's half exhaustion, half resignation. My knees crack. I'm 26, not 60, but single parenting will age you in ways sleep deprivation can't even touch. Daddy! The voice hits me before the body does. A small, warm missile of excitement that crashes into my side and nearly topples me over. I catch him by instinct, arms wrapping around my 4-year-old son even as my ribs protest. Joe, please don't overdraft. And one emergency away from disaster. But I plaster on a smile anyway. Dino Nuggets it is. Ezra cheers, and I get to work in the kitchen. The oven's older than I am and takes forever to preheat, so I lean against the counter and close my eyes for just a second. Just 1 second. That's when I feel it. A tug. Deep in my chest. Like someone's pulling on a thread I didn't know existed. I straighten, eyes snapping open. My pulse kicks up, instinct flaring to life before logic can catch up. I know this feeling. Every Omega knows this feeling. Scent recognition. But that's impossible. I haven't been near any alphas today. I went to the grocery store on the edge of town specifically to avoid pack territory. I took the long way home just to be safe. So why does my body feel like it's waking up after years of being asleep? I shake my head, forcing the sensation down. It's nothing. Stress. Exhaustion. Maybe I'm coming down with something. Daddy, the oven's beeping. Right. Yeah. I got it. I shove the nuggets in, set the timer, and try to ignore the way my hands are trembling. Ezra falls asleep with his head on my lap. Dino Nuggets only half-eaten because he got full from playing. I carry him to bed, tuck him in, and stand in the doorway longer than I should, just watching him breathe. He's the reason I'm still standing, the reason I work 2 jobs, skip meals, and pretend I'm not drowning. But lately, it's been harder to pretend. 3 months ago, Ezra started asking about his other parent, not in a sad way, just curious. Do I have another daddy? He'd asked one night, and I'd frozen like a deer in headlights. I'd told him the truth, in the simplest way I could. You have me, and that's all you need. He'd accepted it then. But I know the questions won't stop. And one day, I'll have to give him a real answer. One day, I'll have to tell him about the alphas who walked away before he was even born. I close his door softly and head to my own room. The apartment's quiet now, but my mind isn't. That tug in my chest? It's still there. Faint. Persistent. Like a heartbeat that isn't mine. I press a hand to my sternum and exhale slowly. Not now, I whisper to no one. Not yet. But deep down, I know. Something's coming. The thought loops in my head like a song I can't shake, and I hate it. But I've survived 4 years on instinct and stubbornness. I don't need cryptic internal warnings messing with my already non-existent peace of mind. I press harder against my sternum, willing the sensation to fade. It doesn't. If anything, it gets stronger. A slow burn that spreads outward, crawling up my throat and settling at the base of my skull like a headache that hasn't decided to commit yet. Great, I mutter, dropping my hand. This is exactly what I need right now. I should sleep. I have a shift at the diner in 6 hours, and Ezra will be up at the crack of dawn, like he's powered by atomic batteries. But my body's humming with restless energy, the kind that makes lying down feel like torture. So I do what I always do when my brain won't shut up. I pace, back and forth across my shoebox of a bedroom, wearing a path into the already threadbare carpet. My thoughts scatter in a dozen directions: bills, groceries, Ezra's preschool tuition, the weird letter I got last week from some lawyer's office that I'm still too scared to open. And beneath it all, that pull. That stupid, stubborn pull that feels like someone's tied a string around my ribs and started tugging. I stop in front of the window, nudging the curtain aside to stare out at the street below. It's late, past midnight, and the neighborhood's quiet. A few streetlights flicker like they're on their last legs. A stray cat slinks across the pavement, tail flicking. Normal. Everything's normal. So why does it feel like the air itself is holding its breath? I let the curtain fall and turn away, scrubbing a hand over my face. "You're losing it, Ash," I whisper. Full on. I'm certified losing it. Ash. Short for Ashton. My mom named me after some actor she had a crush on in the 90s, and I've spent my whole life explaining that no, it's not short for Ashley. Not that it matters. Most people don't bother learning my name anyway. I'm halfway to the bed when I feel it. A spike of heat, sudden and vicious, like someone's shoved a live wire into my spine. I gasp, stumbling forward, one hand flying out to catch myself on the dresser. My vision blurs at the edges, and my knees threaten to give out. No, 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 no. This isn't stress. This isn't exhaustion. This is my body recognizing something it shouldn't. The scent hits me a second later. Faint, distant, but unmistakable. Cedar and smoke and something darker, richer, like aged whiskey left too long in the sun. Alpha. Not just one. 3. Oh. Ugh, you've got to be kidding me, I rasp, gripping the dresser hard enough that my knuckles go white. I haven't been near an alpha in years. I've made damn sure of it. I take suppressants religiously, keep my head down, avoid pack territory like it's radioactive. There's no reason, no possible reason, I should be scenting anyone right now. And yet, my body doesn't care about logic. It's responding like I've just walked into a room full of compatible mates, and every instinct I've spent 4 years burying is clawing its way to the surface. I force myself to breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Slow, steady. I've done this before. I can do it again. The heat ebbs, just slightly. Enough for me to stand upright without feeling like I'm about to pass out. But the scent doesn't fade. If anything, it gets stronger, closer. My heart kicks into overdrive, and I move without thinking, crossing the room, yanking open the bedroom door, and stepping into the hallway. Ezra's door is still closed, thank God. The last thing I need is him waking up and seeing me like this. I creep toward the living room, every nerve on high alert. The apartment's silent. No footsteps, no voices. Just the hum of the fridge and the distant wail of a siren blocks away. But the scent's here, inside, winding through the air like it's searching for something. Searching for me. I stop in the middle of the living room, fists clenched at my sides, and do the only thing I can think of. I close my eyes and reach inward. It's not something I do often. Hell, it's not something I've done in years. But there's a reason I've stayed off the grid for so long, and a reason I've kept Ezra and myself hidden. I'm not just an Omega. I'm a reader. It's a rare gift, so rare that most people don't even believe it exists. The ability to sense emotions, intentions, even fragments of thoughts if I push hard enough. It's not mind reading, not exactly. More like emotional echolocation. And right now, I'm picking up 3 distinct signatures: fury, confusion, hunger. They're not in the apartment. They're close, though. Maybe a block away, maybe less. And they're looking for something. No, not something. Someone. Shit, I breathe, eyes snapping open. This isn't random. This isn't coincidence. They know I'm here. My mind races, trying to piece together how this is possible. I've been careful. I've stayed under the radar. I don't have pack ties, don't have a bond mark. See, don't have anything that should ping on an alpha's radar. Unless someone told them. The thought sends ice down my spine. I back toward Ezra's room, every instinct screaming at me to grab him and run. But where? I don't have a car. I don't have money for a cab. And if they're already this close, running might just make things worse. The scent shifts, closer now, right outside the building. I press my back against the wall, heart hammering so hard I can feel it in my teeth. And then I hear it. Footsteps. 3 sets. Slow. Deliberate. Climbing the stairs. Heading straight for my door. My breath catches, and for one wild second, I consider pretending I'm not home. Like, maybe if I stay perfectly still, they'll think they got the wrong address and leave. Except I can feel them now. Not just their scent, but their presence. Like 3 suns burning too close to my orbit. My body's betraying me in real time. Pulse racing, skin flushing, that stupid omega instinct purring like it's been starved for years. Which it has. But that's beside the point. The footsteps stop. Right outside my door. Silence stretches, thick and suffocating. I hold my breath, counting the seconds. 1, 2, 3. Then, a knock. Not aggressive, not demanding. Just calm, controlled. The kind of knock that somehow makes it worse because it means they're not here to break down the door. They're here because they think they have a right to be. I stay frozen, back pressed against the wall, weighing my options. I could ignore it. I could grab Ezra and lock us in the bathroom. I could... We know you're in there. The voice is deep, smooth, and so controlled it makes my teeth ache. It's the kind of voice that's used to being obeyed, the kind that doesn't need to shout to make a point. Alpha, obviously. We're not here to hurt you, another voice adds, this one slightly softer but no less commanding. We just want to talk. Yeah, because that's not ominous at all, I mutter under my breath. A third voice cuts in, and this one's different, sharper, impatient. Open the door, Omega. We don't have all night. Oh, I don't like that one. My jaw tightens, and before I can think better of it, I'm moving toward the door. Not to open it. Just to get close enough to make sure they hear me when I tell them exactly where they can shove their polite little talk. I stop a foot away, arms crossed, and raise my voice just enough to carry through the wood. I don't know who you are, and I don't care. You've got the wrong apartment. Silence. Then a low chuckle from the sharp one. Wrong apartment. That's cute. Adorable even, the smooth one says, and I can hear the smile in his voice. But we both know that's not true. My stomach twists. They're not guessing. They know. How? I demand, hating the edge of panic creeping into my voice. How do you know where I live? That's not important right now, the softer one says. What's important is that we talk. Face to face. Hard pass. Ashton. My name. They said my name. Ice floods my veins, and for a second, I forget how to breathe. We're not your enemies, the smooth one continues, his tone maddeningly calm. But if you keep us standing out here, we're going to attract attention. And I don't think you want your neighbors asking questions. Damn it. He's right. Mrs. Kowalski across the hall is nosier than a bloodhound, and the last thing I need is her spreading rumors about strange men showing up at my door in the middle of the night. This building's already half convinced I'm running some kind of operation out of here. I exhale slowly, trying to think. My hand hovers over the deadbolt. This is a bad idea. Every instinct I have is screaming at me not to open this door. But if I don't, they'll just come back. And next time, they might not be so polite. Fine, I say, voice clipped. But if any of you so much as breathe wrong, I'm calling the cops. Fair enough, the soft one says. I unlock the door but keep the chain latched, opening it just enough to see out. 3 faces stare back at me. And oh, hell. They're not just alphas. They're gorgeous, in that unfair, sculpted by divine intervention kind of way that makes you wonder if genetics are even real, or if some people just cheat at life. The one in the middle is tall, easily 6'3", with dark hair that's just messy enough to look intentional, and sharp green eyes that pin me in place like a butterfly under glass. His jaw could cut stone, and his presence radiates authority so thick I can practically taste it. That's the smooth one. I'd bet money on it. To his left is another tall one, though slightly less imposing. Warm brown skin, close-cropped black hair, and amber eyes that look kind, which is almost worse, because kind alphas are usually the ones hiding the sharpest teeth. The soft one, then, and on the right? Oh, he's trouble. Blonde hair, pale eyes the color of winter storms, and a smirk that makes me want to punch him on principle. He's leaning against the doorframe like he owns the place, arms crossed, radiating cocky energy. The sharp one. Definitely. Ashton, the green-eyed one says, and the way he says my name, low, deliberate, like he's tasting it, makes my skin prickle. Don't, I snap, cutting him off. I don't know you. You don't get to use my name like we're friends. His mouth curves into something that's not quite a smile. Fair. What would you prefer? How about you turn around and leave? The blonde one snorts. He's got bite. I like him already. No one asked you, Blondie. I shoot back. He grins wider. Blondie. That's new. I'm Callum, by the way, since we're doing introductions. We're not. This is Dante, he continues, jerking his thumb at the green-eyed one. You, and that's Kieran. He nods toward the amber-eyed one. I don't respond. I just stare at them, trying to figure out what the hell is happening. You're probably wondering why we're here, Dante says. Oh, I'm way past wondering. I'm fully in the what fresh nightmare is this stage. Kieran's mouth twitches, like he's fighting a smile. We're here because of your son. The world tilts. My grip tightens on the doorframe, and my voice drops to something cold and dangerous. What did you just say? Ezra, Dante says, and hearing my son's name in his mouth makes my blood turn to ice. We need to talk about Ezra. You need to leave. Now. We're not here to take him, Kieran says quickly, holding up his hands. We need to understand. Understand what? Dante's eyes lock onto mine, and for the first time, I see something other than control in them. Desperation. Why he smells like us. The words hang in the air like smoke, curling around my thoughts and choking the breath out of my lungs. My hand tightens on the door until my knuckles go white. Get out! Ashton! I said get out. My voice cracks, louder than I intended, and I immediately curse myself. Ezra's room is only 20 feet away, and if he wakes up and sees these 3 alphas at our door, I can't. I won't let that happen. Dante doesn't move. None of them do. They're like statues carved from arrogance and audacity, standing in my hallway like they have any right to be here. We're not leaving until you explain, Callum says, and the playfulness is gone from his voice now. What's left is something harder, unyielding. I don't owe you anything, I hiss. Least of all, an explanation about my son. Your son, Kieran repeats slowly, like he's testing the words. Just yours? The implication lands like a slap. My vision goes red at the edges, fury flooding through me so fast I almost forget to breathe. You don't get to come to my home in the middle of the night and insinuate. We're not insinuating, Dante cuts in, his voice maddeningly calm. We're asking. Because 4 years ago, something happened. And now there's a child who carries a scent profile that matches ours. That's impossible. Is it? Yes. No. I don't know anymore. My mind's racing, tripping over itself, trying to make sense of this. 4 years ago. 4 years ago I was. Oh God. The memory slams into me like a freight train. The charity gala. And the one I wasn't supposed to attend, but got dragged to by my former roommate who worked catering. The champagne I shouldn't have drunk because I was on suppressants. The 3 alphas in the corner who looked at me like I was the only person in the room. The 3 alphas I woke up next to, tangled in sheets I didn't recognize, with marks on my skin I couldn't explain, and a panic so deep I didn't stop running until I was 2 states away. No, that can't be them. Those alphas were strangers. I never saw their faces clearly. The lights were low, the alcohol was strong, and by the time I woke up, I was too terrified to stick around for introductions. I don't know what you think you know, I say, forcing my voice steady even though my hands are shaking. But you're wrong. Ezra's mine. End of story. Then let us see him, Callum says. Absolutely not. We're not asking to take him, Kieran says softly, and there's something in his eyes, something almost pleading, that makes my chest ache. We just need to know. Know what? That you can upend his entire life because you caught a whiff of something that probably means nothing. I shake my head, stepping back. No, I've protected him this long. I'm not stopping now. Dante's jaw tightens. Protected him from what? From people like you. The words come out sharper than I meant, but I don't take them back. Because it's true. I've spent 4 years keeping Ezra safe from a world that would see him as leverage, as property, as something to be claimed and controlled. I won't let that happen. Not to him. People like us, Dante repeats slowly. Say, you mean alphas? I mean people who think they can show up and demand answers just because they want them. We're not demanding, Kieran says. We're asking. There's a difference. Is there? Because from where I'm standing, it looks an awful lot like you're 3 seconds away from forcing your way inside. Callum opens his mouth, probably to say something snarky, but Dante holds up a hand. He's right, Dante says, and I blink, surprised. We came on too strong. That's on us. I stare at him, waiting for the catch. There's always a catch. But we're not leaving, he continues, and there it is. Not until we have answers. Then I hope you're comfortable, because you're going to be out there a long time. I move to close the door, but Kieran steps forward, his hand shooting out to catch the frame. Not forceful. Just there. Please, he says, and the word is so quiet, so raw, that it stops me cold. We're not here to hurt you. Or him. We need to know if he's ours. He's not. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Then prove it. The challenge hangs between us, and I hate how reasonable it sounds. How logical. Because the truth is, I can't prove it. Not without a test. Not without opening a door I've kept locked for 4 years. And I'm not ready to do that. Not for them. Not for anyone. I think you should go, I say again, quieter this time. Dante studies me for a long moment, his green eyes searching mine like he's trying to read my soul. Then, slowly, he nods. Okay, he says. We'll go. I exhale, relief flooding through me. But we'll be back. And just like that, the relief's gone. Tomorrow, Kieran adds. Sis, we'll come back tomorrow. During the day, when it's less intrusive. How considerate, I mutter. Callum smirks. We're thoughtful like that. Dante pulls a card from his pocket and holds it out. I don't take it, so he sets it on the floor just inside the door. If you change your mind, he says, or if you need anything, call. I won't. You might. He turns, and the other 2 follow. I watch them disappear down the hallway, their footsteps fading into silence. Only then do I close the door. I lock it. Deadbolt. Chain. Both. Then I slide down to the floor, my back against the wood, and press my hands to my face. My whole body's trembling. Not from fear, from something worse. Recognition. Because deep down, in a place I've been trying to ignore for 4 years, I know. I know those scents. I know those faces. And I know that no matter how hard I run, I can't outrun the truth forever. The card sits on the floor a few feet away, white and stark against the scuffed wood. I stare at it for a long time. Then I reach out, pick it up, and shove it in my pocket. Just in case. The card burns a hole in my pocket as I sit there on the floor, knees pulled to my chest, trying to remember how to breathe like a normal person. I can't stay here. Not on the floor. Not spiraling. Ezra could wake up any second, and the last thing he needs is to find his dad having a breakdown in the hallway at 1 a.m. I push myself up, legs shaky, and head to the kitchen. Water. I need water. Or maybe something stronger. But I gave up alcohol the day I found out I was pregnant, and I'm not about to start again now. The tap sputters before the water comes out cold and metallic tasting. I don't care. I drink it anyway, gulping it down until my throat stops feeling like sandpaper. Then I brace my hands on the counter and close my eyes. 4 years ago. I've spent so long burying that night, convincing myself it didn't matter, that it was just a mistake I could forget. Except I couldn't forget. Because 9 months later, I had Ezra. And Ezra made everything complicated. The gala was in Boston. Some fancy fundraiser for a PAC charity I can't even remember the name of. I wasn't supposed to be there. Like I said, I was crashing with my roommate who was working the event, and she convinced me to sneak in during her break. Just for an hour, she'd said. Come on, Ash, you never go anywhere. She wasn't wrong. I'd been working double shifts at a bookstore and barely scraping by. The idea of free champagne and fancy appetizers sounded like heaven. So I went, and I met them. I didn't know who they were at first. Just 3 alphas who stood out in a room full of people trying too hard to impress each other. They didn't try. They just existed, and somehow that made them magnetic. The one with green eyes, Dante apparently, had looked at me like I was a puzzle he wanted to solve. The one with amber eyes, Kieran, had smiled at me like I was someone worth smiling at. And the blonde one, Callum, had leaned in close and said something that made me laugh for the first time in months. I should have walked away. I didn't. Instead, I let them buy me drinks. Let them pull me onto the balcony where the air was cooler and the music was softer. And let them make me feel like I was the only person in the world who mattered. And then, I pressed my palms harder against the counter, my breath coming faster. I don't remember all of it. The champagne hit harder than it should have. Probably because I'd skipped dinner and my suppressants weren't as effective as I thought. My heat had come early, out of nowhere, and by the time I realized what was happening, it was too late. They'd taken me somewhere. A hotel room, maybe. Somewhere private. Somewhere I could barely see through the haze of pheromones and need. I remember hands. Gentle, rough, reverent. I remember voices murmuring things I couldn't quite hear. I remember feeling safe, which was the cruelest part of all. Because when I woke up the next morning, tangled in sheets that smelled like cedar and smoke and something I couldn't name, and I wasn't safe. I was terrified. There were bite marks on my neck. Faint, but unmistakable. Not bonding marks, thank God, but close enough to scare the hell out of me. And they were still asleep. All 3 of them. Sprawled across the bed like they belonged there. I didn't wait to find out what happened next. I grabbed my clothes, my phone, and I ran. I ran so fast and so far that by the time I stopped, I was in a bus station 2 hours outside the city with no plan and no idea what I was going to do. 3 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant. I should have known, should have put the pieces together. But I was too busy trying to survive, trying to figure out how to keep a roof over my head when I could barely afford food. And then Ezra was born, and none of it mattered anymore. He was mine. That's all I needed to know. Except now. And now they're here, and they know, or they think they know. I still don't understand how they found me. I changed my name. Well, not legally, but I stopped using my last name and started going by just Ash. I moved 3 times in 2 years. I stayed off social media. I did everything I could to disappear. And yet, here they are. Why he smells like us. The words echo in my head, and I hate how much sense they make. Because the truth is, Ezra does smell like them. I've noticed it since he was born. Faint notes of cedar and smoke woven into his scent. Things that didn't come from me. I told myself it was normal, that all kids carry traces of their parents. But what if? What if they're right? What if Ezra is theirs? The thought makes my stomach twist, and I grip the counter harder, knuckles white. Number 1. I can't think like that. Because if Ezra is theirs, then everything changes. They'll want custody, visitation, a say in how he's raised. They'll want him, and I can't lose him. I won't. A soft creak pulls me out of my spiral, and I turn to see Ezra standing in the hallway, rubbing his eyes. Daddy? My heart clenches, and I plaster on a smile so fast it hurts. Hey, buddy, what are you doing up? I heard noises, he mumbles, yawning. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Just couldn't sleep. He pads over, his little bare feet slapping against the floor, and wraps his arms around my waist. I hug him back, burying my face in his curls and breathing him in. Cedar. Smoke. Warmth. God, he really does smell like them. Did someone come over? He asks, his voice muffled against my shirt. I freeze. What? I thought I heard voices, like grown-up voices. Oh, yeah, just a neighbor. Needed to borrow something. He pulls back, squinting up at me. In the middle of the night? It was an emergency. What kind of emergency? The boring kind, I say, ruffling his hair. Come on, let's get you back to bed. He yawns again, but doesn't argue, letting me guide him back to his room. I tuck him in, smoothing the blanket over his small frame, and he looks up at me with sleepy eyes. Daddy? Yeah? Are we in trouble? The question hits me like a punch to the gut. No, baby. We're not in trouble. Why would you think that? He shrugs, his eyelids drooping. I don't know. You just seem worried. I lean down and press a kiss to his forehead. I'm not worried. I'm just tired. Now go to sleep, okay? Okay. He's asleep within minutes, his breathing soft and even. I stay there longer than I should, watching him, memorizing the curve of his cheek, the way his hand curls into a fist under his chin. He's mine, no matter what those alphas think, no matter what the truth is. He's mine. But deep down, in a place I don't want to acknowledge, I know. They're not going away, and tomorrow, I'm going to have to face them again. I slip out of Ezra's room, leaving his door cracked just enough that I can hear him if he wakes up. The apartment feels too small suddenly, like the walls are closing in, and I need air, space, something. I end up back in the living room, staring at the front door like it might sprout teeth and bite me. They were right there. 3 alphas who claim my son smells like them, standing in my hallway like they had every right to be there. And the worst part? A part of me wanted to let them in. Not because I trust them. I don't. but because some traitorous, bone-deep instinct whispered that they were safe, that they were right, that they were mine. "Stop it," I mutter, pressing the heel of my hand against my forehead. "You don't know them. You don't want to know them." Except I do know them. At least my body does. The scent recognition wasn't a fluke. It was real. My body remembers them even if my mind has spent 4 years trying to forget. I sink onto the couch, legs drawn up, and pull out the card from my pocket. It's simple, expensive-looking, with embossed lettering that catches the light. Crescent Ridge Pack, Dante Ashford, Alpha Prime Kieran Vale, 2nd Alpha Callum Thorne, 3rd Alpha, and below that, a phone number. Alpha Prime. Of course he is. I should throw this away. Rip it up and flush the pieces down the toilet. Pretend tonight never happened. But I don't. Instead, I trace the letters with my thumb, feeling the texture of the card, and try to imagine what would happen if I actually called. Would they answer? Would they show up again? Would they try to take Ezra? Or would they just talk? I laugh, bitter and quiet. Yeah, because alphas are known for their stellar communication skills. My phone sits on the coffee table, screen dark. I could call, right now, get it over with. Or I could wait until they show up tomorrow and deal with it then. Except I don't want to wait. I'm not good at waiting. Never have been. When something's going to hurt, I'd rather rip the Band-Aid off fast than let the anticipation eat me alive. Before I can talk myself out of it, I grab my phone and dial the number. It rings once, twice. Then a voice answers. Deep, smooth, unmistakable. Ashton. I should have known Dante would answer on the first ring, like he's been sitting by his phone, waiting for this exact call. "How did you know it was me?" I ask, my voice sharper than I intended. Caller ID and instinct. Creepy. Practical, he corrects, and I can hear the faint amusement in his tone. "I assume you're calling because you've changed your mind." "I'm calling because I have questions." "Ask." I hesitate, my grip tightening on the phone. There are 1,000 things I want to know, but the words tangle on my tongue. Finally, I settle on the one that matters most. "That night? 4 years ago. Did you know?" Silence stretches on the other end, long enough that I almost think he's hung up. Then, quietly, "Know what?" "That I'd get pregnant. That there'd be consequences." Another pause. Longer this time. "No," he says, and the word is heavy. "We didn't know. If we had." "If you had, what? You would have stuck around? Made sure I was okay?" "Yes." The answer is immediate. Certain. And it catches me off guard. "You don't know that," I say, but my voice wavers. "I do," Dante replies, "because we've been looking for you for 4 years." That stops me cold. "What?" "We tried to find you," he continues, his voice steady but strained. "The morning after, you were gone. No note, no contact information, just gone. We searched, hired investigators, checked hospitals, hotels, anywhere we thought you might have gone. But you disappeared." I swallow hard, my throat tight. Maybe I didn't want to be found. "We know, but that didn't stop us from trying." I don't know what to say to that. Part of me wants to believe him. The other part, the part that's kept me and Ezra safe for 4 years, knows better than to trust an alpha's word. "Why?" I ask finally. "Why did you look for me?" Another pause, then softer. "Because you felt like ours." My breath catches. "And we don't let go of what's ours," he finishes. The possessiveness in his voice should scare me, should send every alarm bell in my head ringing. But it doesn't. Instead, it does something worse. It makes me feel wanted. "I'm not yours," I say, but even I can hear how weak it sounds. "Aren't you?" "No, I'm not. And Ezra's not either." Then why did you call? Damn him. Damn him and his logic. I called because I need to know what you want, I say, forcing steel into my voice. So if you think Ezra's yours, what does that mean? Custody? Visitation? Money? What? It means we want to be part of his life, Dante says, and yours. You can't just decide that. We're not deciding. We're asking. It sounds an awful lot like you've already made up your mind. Because we have, he admits, but that doesn't mean you don't get a say. I laugh, short and sharp. How generous. Ashton. His voice softens, and I hate how it makes my chest ache. We're not here to take him from you. We're here because we want to know him, to protect him, to be the fathers he deserves. He has a father. Me. We know. And we're not trying to replace you. We're trying to complete the picture. I press my free hand against my eyes, fighting back the burn of tears I refuse to let fall. This is insane, I whisper. You can't just show up after 4 years and expect me to… We don't expect anything, Dante interrupts gently. We're just hoping. Hoping? God, when's the last time I let myself hope for anything? I need time, I say finally, to think, to figure this out. Take all the time you need. And if I decide the answer is no, silence. Then, carefully, we'll respect your decision. But we won't stop trying. Of course they won't. I have to go, I say, suddenly exhausted. Ashton. I pause, my thumb hovering over the end call button. Thank you, Dante says, for calling, for giving us a chance. I don't respond. I just hang up. And then I sit there in the dark, phone clutched in my hand, and let myself feel everything I've been holding back. Fear, anger, confusion. And underneath it all, I buried so deep I almost didn't notice it. Relief. Because for the first time in 4 years, I'm not alone. The thought should comfort me. It doesn't. Instead, it sits in my chest like a stone, heavy and wrong. Because I've spent so long building walls that the idea of letting anyone through feels like dismantling my own foundation. I set the phone down, hands shaking slightly, and stare at nothing. Sleep isn't coming. Not tonight. Maybe not ever again. So I do what I always do when my brain won't shut up. I move. I clean. I organize. I fold the same blanket 3 times before giving up and shoving it into the closet. Anything to keep my hands busy and my thoughts from spiraling. But it doesn't work. Because all I can think about is that voice. Dante's voice. Steady. Certain. Like he's never doubted anything in his life. We've been looking for you for 4 years. 4 years. The same amount of time I've been running. I press my palms against the kitchen counter, head bowed, and try to breathe through the tightness in my chest. They looked for me. They tried to find me. And I ran. I ran because I was scared, because I didn't know what else to do, because the alternative, staying, facing them, admitting what happened, felt impossible. And now they're here, and I still don't know what to do. The sound of my phone buzzing jolts me out of my thoughts. I stare at it like it might explode. Another text. From the same number Dante called from. I unlock the screen, half expecting some kind of demand or ultimatum. Instead, it's a photo. A little girl, maybe 6 or 7, with dark curls and a gap-toothed grin, sitting on Kieran's shoulders. He's smiling too, not at the camera, but at her. And there's something so genuine, so unguarded in his expression that it makes my throat tight. Below the photo, a message. Kieran, this is my niece, Haley. She's the reason I know how important it is to show up. I don't want to miss any more of Ezra's life than I already have. I stare at the screen, something hot and prickly building behind my eyes. Another text comes through, this time from a different number. Callum. For the record, I'm terrible with kids, but I'm a fast learner, and I make a mean grilled cheese. Despite myself, a small, broken laugh escapes me. Then another text. Dante. Dante. We know we don't have the right to ask for this, but we're asking anyway. Not because we deserve it. Because he does. I set the phone down before I can respond, my chest aching in a way that has nothing to do with fear, and everything to do with the fact that they're trying. Actually trying. And I don't know if that makes this easier or harder. The exhaustion finally catches up with me somewhere around 3 in the morning. I don't remember falling asleep. But I must have. Because the next thing I know, I'm jolting awake to the sound of someone pounding on my door. Not knocking. Pounding. My heart slams into my throat, and I'm on my feet before my brain fully catches up. The pounding continues, harder now, followed by a voice I don't recognize. Open up! Hartford PD! Police? My blood turns to ice. I stumble to the door, fumbling with the locks, and yank it open to find 2 officers standing in the hallway. One's older, graying at the temples, with a face that's seen too much. The other's younger, sharper, with eyes that scan me up and down like I'm already guilty of something. Ashton Monroe? The older one asks. I nod, my mouth too dry to speak. We need to ask you some questions. Can we come in? Questions about what? About your son. The world tilts. What about him? My voice comes out steadier than I feel. Is he okay? Did something happen? Your son's fine, the younger officer says, but there's something in his tone, something cold and sharp, that makes my skin crawl. But we've received a report. From concerned citizens. A report about what? The older officer pulls out a notebook, flipping through pages. A report alleging that you've been preventing the biological fathers of your child from having contact with him. I freeze. No, they didn't. That's not, I start. But the younger officer cuts me off. We also received a complaint that you've been engaging in erratic behavior. Neighbors reported hearing loud voices and signs of distress. That's because 3 strangers showed up at my door in the middle of the night, I snap, anger flooding through me. I didn't prevent anything. They just found out he existed. So you admit they're the biological fathers? I open my mouth. Close it. Because I don't know. I don't actually know. I don't have to admit anything, I say, forcing my voice steady. And unless you have a warrant, I don't have to answer your questions. The older officer sighs, tucking his notebook away. Look, we're not here to cause trouble. But if there's a custody dispute, there's no custody dispute because there's no custody arrangement. My voice rises despite my best efforts to stay calm. They showed up last night, for the first time. Ever. And now you're telling me they filed a complaint? The officers exchange a glance. We're just following up on a report, the younger one says. If you cooperate, I want you to leave. Ma'am? I said leave. Now. The older officer holds up his hands, placating. All right, we're going. But you should know, if this escalates, Child Protective Services might get involved. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. CPS. They're threatening me with CPS. I slam the door in their faces, lock it, and stand there shaking so hard I can barely stay upright. This is happening. This is actually happening. They went to the police. They filed a complaint. They're trying to paint me as the bad guy, as someone who's keeping a child from his fathers. But they don't get to do this. They don't get to waltz into my life after 4 years of silence and act like I'm the one in the wrong. I grab my phone, fury burning through the fear, and dial Dante's number. He answers on the first ring. Did you call the cops on me? I don't give him a chance to speak. Did you seriously file a complaint? What? He sounds genuinely confused. Ashton, what are you— Don't play dumb. 2 officers just showed up at my door asking questions about Ezra. They said someone filed a report. Someone claiming to be his biological father's. Silence. Then, low and dangerous. We didn't do that. Bullshit. I'm telling you the truth, Dante says, his voice hard now. We didn't call the police. We wouldn't do that. Then who did? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. I laugh, bitter and sharp. Right, sure. Because I'm supposed to believe you? Ashton. No. You know what? I'm done. I'm done with this. With you. With all of it. Stay away from me. Stay away from Ezra. Or I swear to God. Someone's setting you up. The words stopped me cold. What? Think about it, Dante says, his voice urgent now. We showed up last night. You called us a few hours ago. There's no way we could have filed a complaint that fast. Someone else did this. My grip tightens on the phone. Who? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. And when I do. He trails off, but the promise in his voice is unmistakable. I sink onto the couch, the anger draining out of me, leaving only exhaustion. Why would someone do this? I whisper. Because they want to hurt you, or us, or both. Well, congratulations to them. It's working. Ashton. His voice softens. Let us help. I don't need your help. Yes, you do. And God help me, he's right. The admission tastes like ash in my mouth, bitter and wrong, but I can't deny it anymore. I'm in over my head, and drowning alone isn't noble. It's just stupid. Fine, I say, the words scraping out of me. But if you're lying, if this is some elaborate manipulation to get access to Ezra, it's not. Then prove it. We will. Give us 20 minutes. The line goes dead before I can respond. I sit there, phone clutched in my hand, staring at the door like those officers might come back any second. My heart's still racing, adrenaline buzzing under my skin like electricity. Someone called the cops on me. Someone who knew about Ezra. Someone who wanted to make me look like the villain in this situation. But who? I haven't told anyone about last night. Hell, I haven't told anyone about anything in 4 years. I keep to myself, keep my head down, specifically to avoid situations like this. Unless a cold realization settles over me. The only people who knew the Alphas showed up were the Alphas themselves. And me. And whoever might have seen them in the hallway. Mrs. Kowalski. Oh, you've got to be kidding me, I mutter, pushing off the couch. I'm halfway to the door when I hear it. Ezra's door creaking open, followed by the soft pad of little feet. Daddy? I freeze, spinning around to find him standing in the hallway, rubbing his eyes. His hair's sticking up in every direction. And he's clutching his stuffed dinosaur, Mr. Chomps, like a lifeline. Hey, buddy. I cross to him, crouching down to his level. What are you doing up? I heard loud noises again. His lower lip trembles slightly. Are we in trouble? My chest cracks open. No, baby, we're not in trouble. Then why were there police? Of course he heard. The walls in this place are made of paper. They just had some questions, grown-up stuff, nothing for you to worry about. He doesn't look convinced. Daddy, are we going to have to leave? The question hits me like a freight train. What? No. Why would you think that? Because. He shifts his weight, hugging Mr. Chomps tighter. Because you always look worried, and you never talk about stuff. And I heard you crying last night. I was not crying. I was. Okay, maybe I was a little bit crying. Ezra. I cup his face gently, forcing a smile I don't feel. I promise you, we're not going anywhere. This is our home. Nobody's taking that away. You promise? I promise. He studies me for a long moment, those big brown eyes, so much like mine, but with flecks of something else, something I've tried not to think about, searching my face for any hint of a lie. Then he nods. Okay, can I have cereal? Just like that, crisis averted. Kids are weirdly resilient like that. Yeah, you can have cereal. Go pick a bowl. He scampers off to the kitchen, and I exhale slowly, pressing my palms against my knees. I can't keep doing this. Can't keep pretending everything's fine when it's very clearly not. But what's the alternative? Let 3 strangers into our lives? Trust them not to rip everything apart? See, a knock at the door interrupts my spiral. Not pounding this time, just a steady, measured knock. I glance at the clock. 18 minutes since I hung up with Dante. Of course they're early. I move to the door, checking the peephole first. All 3 of them stand there, Dante, Kieran, and Callum, looking far too put together for whatever ungodly hour of the morning this is. I open the door, but keep the chain latched. You said 20 minutes? We drove fast, Callum says with a grin that I absolutely do not find charming. We also brought coffee, Kieran adds, holding up a carrier with 4 cups. Peace offering. I eye the coffee suspiciously. Is it poisoned? Only with excessive amounts of caffeine, Dante says. Can we come in? Every instinct screams at me to say no, and to slam the door and pretend this whole nightmare isn't happening. But Ezra's in the kitchen, humming to himself while he pours cereal, and I know, that if I don't deal with this now, it's only going to get worse. I unlatch the chain and step aside. They file in, and suddenly my already small apartment feels microscopic. 3 massive alphas taking up space, their scents filling the air. Cedar, smoke, something crisp and cold. And I have to resist the urge to open a window. Nice place, Callum says, and I can't tell if he's being sarcastic. It's not much, but it's ours, I say, crossing my arms. You said you'd prove you didn't call the cops, so prove it. Dante pulls out his phone, tapping a few times before turning the screen toward me. This is the call log from my phone, and theirs. No calls to Hartford PD. No calls to anyone except you. I study the screen, looking for any sign of tampering, but it looks legitimate. Could have used a burner, I point out. We could have, Kieran agrees, but we didn't. We have no reason to sabotage you, Ashton. That only makes this harder for everyone. Then who did? That's what we're going to find out, Dante says. But first, we need to talk. Really talk. About what happened 4 years ago. About Ezra. About everything. Daddy? Who are they? The small voice cuts through the tension like a knife. I turn to see Ezra standing in the kitchen doorway, bowl of cereal in hand, staring at the 3 alphas with wide, curious eyes. My heart stops. This is it. The moment I've been dreading for 4 years. Ezra, go back to the kitchen, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. No, but who are they? He repeats, not moving. Callum crouches down, getting on Ezra's level, and smiles. Hey there, little man. I'm Callum. That's Dante and that's Kieran. We're friends of your dad's. Ezra looks at me, then back at Callum. Daddy doesn't have friends. Wow, I mutter. Thanks, kid. It's true, Ezra says matter-of-factly. You always say people are too much work. Kieran chuckles softly, and I want to die of embarrassment. Well, we're trying to change that, Kieran says gently. If that's okay with you. Ezra tilts his head, considering. Then, without warning, he walks right up to Dante and stares up at him. You're really tall. Dante blinks, clearly caught off guard. Yes, I am. Are you a giant? No, just tall. Oh. Ezra takes a bite of cereal, chewing thoughtfully. Then, what do you like dinosaurs? I suppose? Good, because Mr. Chomps doesn't trust people who don't like dinosaurs. Callum snorts, trying to cover it with a cough. I should intervene, should pull Ezra away and send him back to his room. But part of me is frozen, watching this unfold like it's happening to someone else. Because Ezra isn't scared. He's not confused or upset. He's just curious. Ezra, I say finally, my voice softer than I intended. Why don't you eat your cereal in your room? I need to talk to these guys. But I want to stay. I know, but... Let him stay, Dante says quietly. I turn to glare at him. Excuse me? He should hear this. He's part of it. He's 4. And he deserves honesty. My jaw clenches. You don't get to decide what he deserves. Neither do you, Dante says, when the words land like a slap. Not alone. Not anymore. The air between us crackles with tension, and I can feel Kieran and Callum watching, waiting to see which one of us breaks first. Daddy? Ezra's small voice cuts through the standoff. Are you mad? I close my eyes, exhaling slowly. No, baby. I'm not mad. Then can I stay? I look at him, really look at him, and see the same stubborn determination I see in the mirror every day. He's not going to let this go. And maybe Dante's right. Maybe it's time to stop running. Yeah, I say quietly. You can stay. Ezra beams, plopping down on the couch with his cereal. And just like that, everything changes. Yeah, I say quietly. You can stay. The words feel like stepping off a cliff, but Ezra's smile makes the fall almost worth it. Dante moves first, settling onto the floor across from the couch, an alpha making himself smaller, less threatening. Kieran and Callum follow suit, the 3 of them arranged in a loose semicircle that somehow doesn't feel like a trap. So, Callum says, looking at Ezra, Mr. Chomps, that's a solid name for a dinosaur. He's a T-Rex, Ezra says proudly, holding up the stuffed animal. The best dinosaur. Debatable, Callum replies. Velociraptors are pretty cool. They're okay, but T-Rex has tiny arms and that makes him funny. Can't argue with that logic. I watch this exchange, my chest tight with something I can't name. This is surreal. My son, talking about dinosaurs with an alpha who might be his father, 3 alphas who might be his fathers. Ezra, Dante says gently, drawing the attention back. Can I ask you something? Ezra nods, a mouth full of cereal. Do you know what a pack is? Ezra swallows. Like wolves? Sort of. It's a family. People who care about each other and protect each other. Like me and Daddy. Exactly like you and Daddy, Kieran says, his voice warm. But sometimes packs can be bigger. More people who want to take care of you. Ezra looks at me, confused. Do we have a bigger pack? My throat closes up. I don't know how to answer that. Don't know what to say that won't be a lie, but also won't break my heart. We might, I manage finally, if you want one. Do I get to pick? The question catches everyone off guard. Yeah, buddy, I say, my voice rough. You get to pick. Ezra considers this, chewing on his lip the way he does when he's thinking hard. Then he looks at Dante, Kieran, and Callum. Do you guys want to be in our pack? The silence that follows is deafening. Then Dante says, more than anything. Even though I'm really loud sometimes and I don't like naps? Especially because of that, Kieran says, and his eyes are suspiciously bright. Callum leans forward, grinning. Kid, if you join our pack, I'll teach you how to make the loudest burp you've ever heard. Callum, Dante says sharply. What? It's a valuable life skill. Despite everything, despite the fear and the confusion and the absolute chaos of the last 12 hours, I laugh. It's small and broken, but it's real. Ezra giggles too, and just like that, the tension shatters. Okay, Ezra declares. You can be in our pack, but Daddy's still the boss. Deal, all three of them say in unison. I shake my head, fighting the burn behind my eyes. You can't just. This isn't how it works. Why not? Ezra asks. Because it's complicated. Grown-ups always say that when they don't want to explain stuff. That's because grown-up stuff is actually complicated, I say, but there's no heat in it. Dante stands slowly, crossing to where I'm leaning against the wall. He stops just close enough that I can feel the warmth radiating off him, but not close enough to crowd me. We're not asking for everything all at once, he says quietly. We're just asking for a chance. A chance to what? Play house? Pretend the last 4 years didn't happen? No, a chance to build something real, starting now. I don't even know if Ezra's yours, I whisper, the confession ripping out of me. I don't know if any of this is real or just some cosmic joke. Then we'll find out, Kieran says. They're standing too. Together. No matter what the answer is, we're not walking away. Why? The word breaks. Why do you even care? Because he's ours, Callum says simply. We knew it the second we caught his scent. And so did you. He's right. I've known since the moment they knocked on my door. Maybe even before that. My body recognized them. My instincts screamed at me that they were safe, that they were right, that they were… Mates, I breathe. Dante's eyes flare. Say that again. No. I shake my head. I can't. I can't do this. Why not? Because I'm terrified. The words explode out of me. Because I've spent 4 years keeping us safe, and letting you in means risking everything. And I don't know if I'm strong enough for that. You're the strongest person I've ever met, Dante says. And the certainty in his voice makes me want to believe him. You raised a kid alone. You survived. You built a life from nothing. That takes more strength than most people have in their entire bodies. He's right, Kieran adds, and you don't have to be strong alone anymore. We've got you, Callum says. Both of you, if you'll let us. I look at them, really look at them, and see the truth written in their faces. The hope, the fear, the desperate, aching need to be part of something they've been searching for. The same thing I've been running from. I want a paternity test, I say finally. Before anything else happens, I need to know for sure. Done, Dante says immediately. And I want it in writing that if this doesn't work out, you don't get to take him from me. We'd never… In writing, I repeat, my voice hard. Okay, Kieran agrees. Whatever you need. I swallow hard, looking over at Ezra, who's watching us with wide eyes and his cereal forgotten. What do you think, baby? I ask. Do you want them to stick around? Ezra doesn't hesitate. Yeah, they seem nice. And Callum promised to teach me burping. I laugh again, this one easier than the last. Of course he did. So, we're doing this? Callum asks, hope coloring his voice. I take a deep breath, feeling the weight of the decision settle over me. 4 years of running, 4 years of fear, and now, finally, a chance to stop. Yeah, I say quietly. We're doing this. Dante's hand finds mine, his fingers threading through mine with a gentleness that makes my breath catch. Thank you, he murmurs. Kieran steps closer, his hand resting on my shoulder. We won't let you down. You better not, I say, but there's no bite in it. Callum grins. Group hug. Absolutely not, I say. Group hug, Ezra yells, launching himself off the couch. And suddenly, I'm surrounded by alphas and my son, and the overwhelming scent of cedar and smoke and home. It's terrifying. It's perfect. And for the first time in 4 years, I let myself hope that maybe, just maybe, everything's going to be okay. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as can ever imagine. So do check it out. Hit subscribe. The next story drops soon.